doing a great job. You can actually get a sign that says, I'm a Michigan Shoreline steward, to put on your lawn, you know, to be all proud and show your neighbors you're doing great things for your lake. So yeah, those are both really great websites if you're looking for more information as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
And if you're stubborn like me and you want to do something like this, but you don't want to hire a contractor, bioengineering is something that you could do on your own, go through, get a permit. And I just had a good conversation with Otsego County about their Otsego County Park on Otsego. And the appeal to them was that they've already got these summer workers that they have doing maintenance around the park. This was a project that they could have their summer workers do without having to hire a contractor to truck in loads of rock. So they've already got riprap along the shoreline. Their plan is to roll that rock out, put the quarter log in, put the rock back, and start planting. So it doesn't have to be expensive if you don't want it to. But yeah, let us know if you have any questions.
So you told us how long it takes to get a permit. How long are the permits good for?
5 years. So yeah, plenty of time to get it in.
So in that picture, those trees, those dead trees are basically brought in, so you can have
The woody debris, the trees that get laid out into the lake, they in and of themselves are going to help you absorb energy and restore some of the shoreline. So let's say you already have some shoreline work and you don't necessarily want to change that. You could apply for a permit to put woody debris in just on its own, and that could improve the habitat in front of your existing shoreline. Or if you do want to put in a brand new shoreline, it can be a component of that.
So typically with the tree removals, you're taking trees that have either recently just died or are like within 3 months old. You're dropping them into the lake. We do require that they be anchored to the shoreline somehow, just so you're not causing traffic hazards on the lake. So the ways that I've seen people attach them to shore, sometimes with like a steel cable attached to a permanent fixture, but I've also seen people just take like a post, cut like a square in the log, and pound it in place, and that seems to do really well too. And then you've got something that's going to naturally degrade. But it does take a little bit of time for that tree to become waterlogged enough to stay in place on its own. So you do have to anchor it for them to get in. A lot of times they're installing those in the winter because it's a little bit easier to access. You can stand on ice if there's ice and safe ice. But it's also something that I've seen done in the summertime.
So a whole tree, the tree was probably doomed. And you can anchor it to a stone.
Yeah. As long as, anything to make sure that it stays in place.
Yeah, right.
And the reason that we require that they're more green or they're newer trees, I just recently learned, is because they're still going to be somewhat waterlogged. They're still going to have moisture in them and they'll sink a bit better. Just like Aaron said, it takes a while for them to absorb more water after being in the lake for a while.
When you're measuring that distance across the lake, it's over a mile. What was that term?
Fetch.
Fetch. If there's a lot of long, skinny lakes, how is there a certain degree of
We take the longest.
so long, so you could be at the south end of Otsego Lake, it's 6 miles, 4 miles that
Yep.
way, that's your longest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or 6 miles, I guess it's even skinnier.
Yeah,
Yes.
we tend to err on the side of what is the worst case scenario, right? So like, obviously if you're on the north end of the lake, you're probably not gonna see a ton of
Yes.
super strong windstorms from the south, but we do tend to err on the side of what is the worst potential that they could see.
Any other questions? Yeah. So your neighbors got contractors over. And they're putting in a beach. Do you call on your neighbors or do you not call on your neighbors?
We have a website where you can see if we have issued a permit for any project.
See if your neighbors have.
Yeah, so
permit
it's-
at a time.
Yeah, so it's
lot there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and so the reason that the general permit and minor projects don't have to be public noticed is because we have this set of criteria that we go through at least every 5 years, and it goes through public notice on the statewide level. We say, hey, we think these are things that are not going to cause impact. If people meet these criteria, we're going to process them without a public notice, and we public notice them all at once, and then we receive comments on them at that time. So recently, in 2021, we went through the change in our minor project categories with shoreline stabilization, where we required the BMP on replacement seawalls. And we changed the size of the rock and the slope of rock riprap. So those are things that are still kind of new for contractors. Hopefully they've done enough projects since then that they've got the hang of it, but, it was a big change for a lot of contractors, when we did that in 2021. Some of them are still getting used to the change.
Any other questions for them?
I got one point of information. A friend of mine and I applied for permits for shoreline erosion project. I was assigned a permit engineer and in a short period of time issued a permit. My friend was issued a different permit engineer, and the other permit engineer didn't work very fast. He ended up canceling his permit. The permit engineer didn't work on the permit application for a long period of time, and then all of a sudden canceled it. The point I'm trying to make